So I'm going to give you a little bit of biblical truth, the background of the Bible. So the Ammonites and the Amorites, remember, they divinate lies in my name. I did not send them. They are from the synagogue of Satan. Like the Judeans and the Talmud was from the synagogue of Satan. The Lord tells us to flee Judea, go to the mountains, worship the Father in spirit, truth, or per se, flee, come out of Egypt, come out of Babylon, and the gods they serve. We don't all serve the same God. So Ammonites, their house was northeast of the Dead Sea, where they were neighbors of Moab. The Moabites, Ammonites, a semi-nomadic or Armenian tribe, were frequently at war with Israel. The story of Jephthah and his ill-fated daughter, Judges 11, suggests that their god was Chemosh. Remember, I told you these are gods and goddesses of Egypt. Moab worshipped Chemosh and Melkart. So the Moabs were Melkart. Also, the national deity of Moab, Milcom, is probably a slip. And one king stated to the ethnic gods of the Ammonites, on the other hand, near Eastern. So if people pick up these generational, these are ancestral curses from your ancestry, like evil altars is what I call them, where you pick up their ways, just like a mother and daughter pick up traits or ways of their family. You know, this is why I had to break off curses. And the Lord told me, you can't drink the cup of devils and drink the cup of the Lord. This goes deep about drinking doctrines of devils. I mean, it just doesn't mean like you're actually... People's ways can become devilish. They're traditions of man, they're patterns of life. Milcom and Molech were identified with one another. So you see, the Moabites, the Ammonites, and Molech was social and political allegory. So they worship gods that serve their needs, which was usually Baal, money, Baphomet, whatever you want to call them, false gods, gods of Egypt. That's why he commands us not to serve the gods of your forefathers. But David, during this banishment, appears to have fraternized with them. Solomon's marriage to Ammonitish wife, remember King Solomon and Hiram Abi, he 666 talents in labor slavery and lusting after many women. He destroyed his own temple. So he was under a false god. He built high places, which is Tophia, to roast, to surrender, to destroy oneself. For Molech, in the valley of Hinnom, shades of death. I mean, how far are people willing to blaspheme the Holy Spirit, fall away to their own devices, like Pharaoh kept living in sin, like Cain lived in sin, the abomination of the children of Ammon. 1 Kings talk about this, the abominations of the heathen, and Josiah's destruction of it. That's why the Lord told me to get his seal and never date again. Because, if a kingdom is divided, it will not stand. If you're dwelled in with that phallic worship, or dwelled in that, you're yoking yourself with that. You can't intermingle with a fallen or marry the fallen, they'll be worshiping their false gods. This is what that verse means. So when I chose to deny myself and never date again, people laugh at me. But I know that the division in the kingdom is required. I will bruise his head and you will bruise his heel. I will put enmity between her child and his child. That is talking about the kingdoms. I'm going to put enmity between her seed and your seed. Seeds were representation of kingdoms. So he will bruise her head and bruise her heel, the seed. So that I remember going through that vision where the Lord told me, to separate myself. And because, slaying the children, ransoming their children to demons, thou shalt not occultic prostitution. They shall not prostitute thy sons and daughters. The land will be filled with whoredoms. They ransom their children, their own bloodlines, and they don't see no harm in it. This is called the Phoenician child, where they ransom their children to demons for economic allegory. And when the Lord had showed me some of these things, this is when, he told me I need my bride to be victorious. Stop dating, never date again. Get my seal, I'll protect you from the hour of trial. The hour of trials, I believe, are the judgments that are falling on people that aren't in true worship, that are under his protection. Shelter me under the wings of the Most High God. No noise and pestilence or plague will come on me. That's why when people talk about God and me, it's that serious for me. I ask them, what God are we talking about? I need to know. And they look at me like I'm crazy because maybe they haven't been revealed these truths. This is the only thing I can come to revelations with is whom the God of this world is blind to them. So they might be under an evil altar or an ancestral curse or a generational curse, which generational curses are more behavioral and lifestyle. Ancestral are more religious in nature. That's been implemented long before you were probably even born. It's called an evil altar or a false covenant that someone might have, not you yourself, but someone might have signed you up to it. Someone in your family might have put your name or ransom or sold you to the kingdom of Satan before you were even born, your bloodline. These are things the Lord revealed to me, and I've done deliverance. I know what I'm dealing with. In his building of high places for Molech, the abominations of the children of Ammon, meaning to agree with someone's sin is an abomination. So he's talking about the abomination of heathen. Heathen are people are blaspheming. They're following the ways of Cain, or they don't feel no remorse for their sin. A seared conscience with a hot iron. A reprobation has occurred in their lives where they're justifying. A lot of people go through this. You're not supposed to judge. They find a theory